Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Deepak, and thank you so much for all your feedback and watching our videos, going through various articles, looking over the book, and your wonderful feedback. Thank you so much. So, today we are going to talk about Azure Data Lakehouse, and that's why we are here. And I want to simplify it because from data engineering perspective and data scientist perspective, we need to know what is data lake, why we need it. So basically, we confuse many times like, okay, what is data lake, what is delta lake. So I'm touch basing around 10 minutes about that. So let's start it. The data lake is building a data lake that offer undefined view of data for the data scientist. Basically, we need to know the data, and that data reside at particular repository that is called data lake. So that repository may be from various sources like real-time ingestion, micro batch, or batch ingestion, and we perform some operation over there at the ingestion tier, and then we transform it into in memory or MPP or whatever different storage, and then we process it. So basically, let me quickly share you the screen, and give me a very quick second and we will go from there. So I'm sharing my screen, and here you go. Most likely you able to see this slide now. And here we are talking about, okay, there is various data sources available. Maybe the database, legacy system, SaaS app, application, web application. We load those data from various sources. As I'm a Microsoft Azure guy, so basically it is for me nowadays is Azure Data Factory. It can be anything for you, SSRS or SSIS, batch load or anything related to that. Once you have processed that data is very raw. You transform that data into various system, and then that data is available, and that data is available, the process data is available for visualization, that is called reporting. And then it is for machine learning perspective, if you need to educate your data and you process and store those things. So I got this very interesting slide from LinkedIn, so I really want to thank to available it on the open platform. So thank you so much for that. And this is what basically a data lake look like. But let me redefine further. Uh, Earlier we have semi-structured data or structured data. All different sort of data is available, and we need to move maybe relational data as well, and we need to move and perform ingestion or raw storage or transformation or storage or consume. So basically what we have to do, if this is the source, and once we have source available, we need to process that data, we need to ingest that data and store and transform and all those different sort of things. That is what we are doing. So that is a typical way of looking over the data architecture. However, from Delta Lake perspective, if we have to say what is the Delta Lake, we would say Delta Lake is open source project that enable building a lake house architecture with compute engine. So basically under the hood, it is, you could say, Azure Data Lake, which is over there, and Spark or Synapse or what not, Google Cloud, and Amazon, all those different things. So basically, if you look over here, the Delta Lake sits on Data Lake. So the core is the Data Lake, and Data Lake is the core, which is which is used by Delta Lake. And Delta Lake is open source project that enable building a lake house architecture with compute engine, regardless of whether it is the Microsoft you could see in our screen, or whether it is the Amazon, or whether it is the Google Cloud. It does not matter at all. The conceptually, we have to understand the Delta Lake sits on the top of the Data Lake, and that's why we are here. So if I just try to unwind further, you would ask, hey Deepak, that's fine. I understand, okay, data lake is kind of the storage system, which is like Azure Data Factory. But what exactly is Delta Lake? So Delta Lake is an open house project that allow data warehouse like functionality. Basically, in data warehouse earlier, I work on on-prem system and all those different system where we need to process the data and we have fact table or dimension tables, and we basically historical data we put over there. So Delta Lake is an open source project that allows data warehouse like functionality directly to the data lake. Why I'm saying data lake? Because Delta Lakes always use Delta Lake always use Data Lake, and that is the reason for that. And it has all the benefit of acid, time version, and all those things which are not going to read over here. So basically, this slide is very important, and it in another 2 minutes will give you conceptually very clear vision. In 2004, 5, 6, when I started my career, and I would say till, if not 2015 or 16, we have landing database and source and master. Sometimes we say, okay, developer or test or production. So similarly, now in data lake, we have bronze data lake, silver data lake, and gold data lake. And in Snowflakes, we have staging table, raw data vault, and business vault. So technically, if I explain, it is same thing conceptually, but it more like, okay, different version of lake. So you could say bronze data lake over the slide, or silver or products, and that's what we are doing over here. So I think you got some clarity. So in bronze, we get the direct copy, direct raw data, whether it is structure or semi-structure and structure in the bronze. In silver, we do some transformation, massaging, and put over there. And gold is kind of the gold mine, the purest data, which is always available for the analytics. So, for example, your business users, they need to point to the gold table. And in bronze, you always, in bronze, it's you, the developer team, who is taking care of that. Furthermore, what is Lakehouse? A repository of data stored in raw format and filed within the blob storage. So, data lake is a group of related data, raw system sensor, etc., which is used. So, basically, if you say, "Hey Deepak, what file we store in the Parquet format?" I would say any file, any format. I use almost whatever I have written in CSV, logs, XML, JSON, but preferred format would be the Parquet Avro, and because they that is compressed and very easy to read. But uh, in another format as well, we could process that. Processing is not a challenge over here. So finally, let me explain what the data lake is, or lake house architecture. So here you have all the structures, all the sources, whether it is the streaming source, let's say IoT, or you have reference data or relational data as well, or files or Avro, or as whatever data source you have that need to be processed into bronze by any ETL operation, which is called in this case Azure Data Factory, which process further, which is a clean version, and that is called silver. And finally, you do some transformation by, in this case, I use the notebook name, which is Databricks notebook, but you could try directly by any, like for in Azure Synapse, we use their notebook. And in the final, gold is the fact and dim, which is kind of data warehousing flavor you get from there, from the gold. And it is the Steam Analytics, Power BI, and you do different stuff over here. Excuse me. So data lake is full of raw data, and delta lake is combination of data lake plus data warehousing technology, transactional history and integrity, as we saw in fact and dimension. So never confuse again into delta lake or data lake. And you could say, if someone asks, what is the delta lake? Okay, bronze, silver, and gold combined together become delta lake, and that's its over the data lake, and this is what we need to do. And in this example, you could say, okay, from synapse, basically in this case, we are processing data into the bronze, do some massage moving into the cleansing, and that's what we are doing, and we are leveraging ADLS Gen 2. And in my Azure Storage Explorer, you could see I have three folders, and in these three folders, you could see bronze, gold, and silver, and this is how they look like. Are they really table, or are they in the file format? So basically, that is conceptually I want to understand, like you guys to understand, and it is dim and fact, and we could see hierarchical namespace from year, from month, and then date as well. You could see sale or geography, whatever you want to do, and then the file are stored in Parquet format, and this is how the Delta Lake that data is stored. So these files are always there. So at times time is passed, you could read it 22nd of July 2022 10:15, and 22nd of July 2022 11:25. All these kind of timestamps you could read, and file are saved. And this is how this is related, and I believe that is enough for today, and it give you clarity what is data lake or delta lake or data warehousing concept. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Please follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter. I will happy to give your all answers. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Take care.